Dear Claire, Martha, and Oma, I talked to Luke today, Thanksgiving morning. Over 20 years ago, on Thanksgiving, I called the ranch to talk to my sons. Oma answered. I asked to speak to Brandon. She hollered, Debbie, is it okay if Carl talks to Brandon? Why on God's earth does my own mother for Debbie's permission to let my sons talk to their dad? Because Oma was deliberately teaching my sons the implicit message that she, and Debbie, were the authorities never to be questioned, and that their dad was toxic, and that my sons needed Debbie's protection from him. This was a psychologically planted message. That Brandon, Calvin, Luke, and Marshall need their mommy to protect them, when in fact, the poison they needed protecting from was being planted in their minds, by these two women, Oma and Debbie, who were the folks planting the poison. In sneaky, well-veiled, psychological ways. While my sons could not see that this was being done to them. Veiled by their good cooking and other favoring. 3 of these boys, now men, trusted these women and took their psychological bait. Hook, line and sinker. This caused generational damage to my sons that my grandchildren, and their children, will never understand. And it was all needless, and could have been avoided had you done what parents are supposed to do, and supported your son Carl, not Jezebel who was out to destroy him. Yet, both my parents malevolently, to harm Carl, practiced backing Jezebel, and even viciously punished my sisters Claire and Martha for supporting Carl at the Do Your Visitation hearing, in Bryan, Texas. Adding to the mix, our dad, Opa, loved Debbie doting on him, and our mother played that angle too. Oma's cultural and societal power and prestige came from kissing Opa's ass, the wallet, so she kissed it, control through pillow fluffing. A lot of women who don't have their own power, kiss a man's ass and steal it from him. Additionally, but along this point of Oma having man-hating issues, that she acts out on Carl, Oma was so mean to Marshall a while back, that he said, F you Oma, in boundary that he did not know how to create in any other way. But he was sick of Oma treating him in the same way she treats Carl, and he set that boundary firmly. Well done Marshall. Even Pete could see this one, because when Marshall asked Pete why Oma was being that way, Pete rightly said. Because you remind her of Carl. Mother, you never confessed that you had man issues to work on, and having your violent and controlling dad who you had to manipulate and cajole just to get to go away to college, but otherwise a very good man, and your sneaky game-playing husband whose mom was just like him in this way, i.e. Opa was a lot like his mom. I understand Oma's frustration with men equals her dad and her husband, but instead of confessing that you had man-hating issues and working on them, Oma, you acted them out, on Carl, and sometimes your daughters when they supported me, and even on Marshall. Instead of working on your issues. Fact, these are yours, Oma, not mine, yet you acted them out on Carl, and viciously punished Carl for garbage in your unconscious that you never confessed was there much less worked out. Yet like your dad was, you are very legalistic and malevolent, like the Inquisition, without apology, without owning the error of your desire to harm Carl. I coached Marshall not to use language like the F word to you or any family. But yes, to confront what needs confronting. You taught your children the same way your dad taught you, to never confront, no matter how wrong they are, your parents. I have taught my sons to yes, confront what needs confronting. Parents like you and your dad give yourselves a pass for injustice and abuse, because it never gets confronted or talked about. And thus, abuse and injustice never gets worked out to create real peace, only the phony. Nobody says anything, kind of peace. In our family, I called this the no-talk rule. The more horrific the abuse, the more it never got talked about. Think, here, of the parable, the emperor's new clothes. In order to veil this abuse of power, you and Debbie lathered people up by repeated and perpetual gossip energy against Carl, for decades, behind his back, demonizing Carl, to throw folks off the scent of where the toxicity is really rooted, the two women orchestrating this narrative, and veiling it so very cleverly.